It is wonderful to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
So I have to ask you, there is so much science in this movie, a crazy amount.
Mhm.
How would you describe this, let's say hypothetically, to your 90-year-old grandfather?
Well, he's actually very sharp.
Okay.
No, I mean, I would say that it is, it's an action movie, but it's an action movie for the mind as well, in the sense that it's trying to kind of appeal to and engage with the right side and the left side of your brain. So yes, there's the kind of fun, creative, visually stunning aspect, and then there's also the more logical, can you wrap your brain around this aspect? So it's kind of attacking you on all fronts, as it were. So I would bill it as an action movie for the mind that is going to take some getting used to.
And how much of the science did you really spend on like researching that? Because it is a lot.
Yeah, no, it is. I didn't spend too much time on it actually, because I didn't feel like going into the project as an actor. I didn't feel like it was going to inform my choices, whether or not I knew specific quantum theories that weren't necessarily even part of the script or part of my character's journey. So I kind of looked at some basics and kind of picked out a couple of theories that were my favorites, and kind of left it at that, and then wanted to more work on creating the standalone character.
Now, for you personally, how was it working with the director, Andrew Goth? Because, I mean, he has a complete vision for this film.
Yeah, I don't think it could have been done with a director who didn't, because the script was never really linear. It was jumping from different different timelines and through different realities. So it took a lot of trust on our part, in him, and because he did have such a clear vision, it was easy to put that trust into him. But yeah, he's a really nice, calming presence on set, and I think that's what we all needed.
And when you say a calming like presence on set, I just love an example of that because that to me sounds like a great director, somebody who cares about how you're feeling in those moments.
Yeah, I mean, calming in the sense that there can be pressured times on a set where you're running out of time, or there's different opinions flying around, and Andrew was a very good moderator, and kind of just never wanted to push anything on anyone that they didn't feel comfortable with or they didn't agree with. It was always, let's have a discussion. And he was very kind of gave us a lot of license to go where we wanted with it. For example, we all had input into designing our characters' bedrooms, and so he gave a lot to us kind of artistically, and that was really a pleasure to be able to work like that.
What was it for you personally about the script when you got it that just either made you really want to be a part of it or want to ask more questions to see if you wanted to be a part of it?
It was just completely unlike anything that I had read, but also it was the main kind of draw for me is that it was a group of misfits essentially who were kind of leading this charge into intellectual furthering themselves intellectually, and people who wouldn't necessarily have a big group of friends around them, but they'd found each other, and that is kind of why they were able to pursue what they were. I really liked the characters more than anything, and then the science was just a kind of unique added bonus.
Now, something I found that was really interesting that you mentioned for the audition process, they actually did a physical assessment. What took part in that physical assessment? I want to know.
It was kind of like a physical education class, like PE class at school. We all had to drive, so we were all based in London. So we drove like 2 hours out of London to this kind of parkour academy, and it was basically, can you start to learn parkour? And I was like really trying to show off because I was like, I can do this, and I was like did high jump at school, so was convinced that I was going to be good at it. So they had this like block at the beginning of the day, and it was like, who's gonna just get over it somehow, and everybody's like doing well, and there's me like I'm gonna get this job in the first 5 minutes. So I went and I jumped over it with no hands, and I have a good jump, so I knew I'd be able to do that. But what people don't know is that I also kneed myself in the face as I did it, like right on the cheekbone, and if I'd been like 2 inches to the left, I probably would have like broken my nose and absolutely not got the job. But 2 minutes into the day, I managed to knee myself in the face.
So you would just say it was bold confidence that got you this job?
Yeah, blissfully ignorant confidence, I think, where I just assumed that I could be good at parkour and turned out that I was not too shabby. But I'm not that I'm an expert by any means. And there were a few injuries within the training process, and we had like nightly visits from a physio to our hotel rooms to kind of keep us in working shape.
Now, do you do that now in your spare time, parkour? Like, am I going to catch you in the parking lot, you doing some flips on some cars? Or?
I mean, you won't catch me because I'm too fast at it. No. No, I mean, it has helped me with other things, though, like the job that I did, not the next job, but a job that I did after was like martial arts based. So the fact that I had a basis in some parkour training meant that I was able to carry that through. So it absolutely served me well. But no, I'm not a parkour athlete. No.
And I've noticed a lot of your roles are very physical. With Badlands, you play a very physical role with that. Do you feel like you lean more towards roles where are more extremely physical?
I don't think it's necessarily that I lean in that direction, but that is where I tend to land. And I have a great time doing it. It's for me, it's an element of the job that is just like playing, and kind of getting to learn skills that I otherwise would have no chance of learning. So that's incredible. But I'm absolutely not only shoving myself down that corridor. I have every respect for other genres, and I'm very interested in pursuing those as well.
Now, the first episode for the second season of Badlands came out. What can we expect from your character writer in this season?
He's in a position now where he is finally living up to his potential, and now he has to prove that he can stay there, and that's gonna kind of be the challenge for him to stay on top now that he's finally there, and kind of all the difficulties that will bring. But he has a character of Jade. They're kind of like a partnership, whereas when his father ruled, it was very much a one-man show. But he's kind of right as not being as arrogant and is letting other people kind of guide him, and I think that's going to serve him well.
And what do you think is just his biggest inner battle right now going into season 2 is? Because I feel like season 2 is definitely making this transformation, Yeah,
I think what it will be is shedding the kind of disapproval from his father that still lives in his head, and whether or not he can get that out of his mind and be a baron in his own right. But we'll see.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. I look forward to seeing Mind Gamers March 28th, as well as Badlands. We'll have to check out Oliver and all his amazing roles that you're having right now. So
thank you very much.
Thank you so much.